My name is Harlan Hank Whitaker. I'm 52. I own 320 acres of good black Iowa soil outside of Ames, just off Highway 69. Corn, soybeans, a little hay, and a restored 1890s bank barn that's been in my family since my great-grandfather put the first stone in the foundation. I don't talk much. Never have. Folks around here say I'm steady like the old windmill on the North 40, turns when it needs to, quiet the rest of the time. I met Jenna when she was 28 and I was 30. She had a 4-year-old daughter, Ellie, from a guy named Travis Kane who left before Ellie could say daddy. Jenna worked at the HYV deli counter in town, smiled at everyone, and laughed loud enough to carry across the parking lot. Ellie had big brown eyes and liked sitting on tractor fenders while I checked the oil. I didn't propose fancy. Just asked if she and the girl wanted to live where the land didn't move and the bills got paid on time. She said yes. We got married in the county courthouse on a Tuesday in April. No big party. Just cake from the HYV and coffee. I never asked Ellie to call me Dad. She started doing it on her own around age 6, after I taught her how to drive the old farm all in the hayfield. I was at every parent-teacher conference, every 4-H meeting, every spring when she planted her first pumpkins for the fair. When she got into Iowa State for agribusiness, I drove her down to Ames with the truck loaded so full the springs groaned. When she cried at 2 a.m. because a boyfriend ghosted her sophomore year, I drove the hour and a half just to sit with her at Perkins and eat pie until the sun came up. Jenna and I drifted. Not dramatic. Just slow. She wanted more nights in Des Moines at restaurants with white tablecloths. I wanted sunrise over the east field. We stayed civil. For Ellie. Always for Ellie. For years ago, Jenna started talking about needing space. She moved into a condo in Ankeny. Said it was temporary. Ellie was already out of the house by then, working for a co-op in Boone. I didn't fight the divorce. Signed the papers. Gave her half the savings, kept the farm. She didn't want dirt anyway. Said so herself. Then Ellie got engaged to Caleb Rasmussen. Caleb's people are from near Boone, good folks, dairy background, quiet money from generations of Holsteins. The wedding was set for last September. Ellie wanted it in the barn. The same barn my great-grandfather built, the one I'd spent 3 summers restoring with new oak beams, tin roof, and lights strung like stars. She wanted rustic but elegant. String lights, long farm tables, wildflowers in mason jars. I told her it was hers. Whatever she wanted. I paid for everything. Venue? Free. The barn is mine. But catering from a place in Ames that does hog roasts and prime rib, $12,400. Open bar, $4,800. Flowers, oh Lord, the flowers, $7,200 because Ellie wanted sunflowers the size of dinner plates and baby's breath like snow. Photographer, $4,500. Band, $3,200. Invitations, programs, lighting rentals, porta potties upgraded to fancy trailers, tent in case of rain, another $18,000 or so. Total came to just under $62,000. I wrote the checks quietly. Didn't tell anyone. Didn't need to. Ellie was mine in every way that counted. I wanted her day perfect. The Saturday arrived crisp, that perfect Iowa September where the sky is so blue it hurts. The barn smelled like fresh hay and Polish. Guests filled the loft and the main floor. Caleb's family sat on one side, solid and smiling. Travis Kane showed up. First time in 23 years. New suit, new teeth, new story about how he'd always regretted leaving. Ellie invited him. Said she wanted closure. I didn't argue. Just nodded. Reception started fine. Toasts. Laughter. Ellie in white, glowing like the harvest moon. Then Jenna took the microphone. She'd had 3 glasses of Prosecco. You could hear it in her voice, bright, sharp, confident the way Chardonnay makes some women feel untouchable. Family, she started, smiling at the crowd. Real family. We talk a lot about blood, but today we celebrate the people who gave us our beautiful bride. She gestured toward Travis, who stood up like he'd won an award. Travis Kane, Ellie's father. The man who gave us this miracle girl. He's here tonight to make things right. Polite claps. A few murmurs. Jenna turned vaguely in my direction. I was standing near the back doors, arms folded, nursing water. And of course we have to thank Hank. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. He's been around a long time. The hired man who kept things running. You know how stepdads are, they try. They really do. Laughter rippled through the room. Not mean, just awkward. The kind that scrapes. I set my glass on a hay bale. Straightened my tie, the one Ellie picked out for me. Walked straight out the big sliding doors into the night. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. The air was cool, smelled of cut corn and diesel from the generator. I kept walking past the park trucks until I reached the machine shed. Sat on the running board of my old 4020 John Deere. Stared at the stars. Footsteps crunched gravel. Slow. Deliberate. Hank. I looked up. Eric Rasmussen, Caleb's father. Mid-60s, silver hair under a ball cap even at a wedding. Hands in his pockets like he was checking fence lines. Mind if I sit? I shrugged. He sat on the opposite fender. Wedding's over, he said quietly. Not officially. But it's done. I didn't answer. People are looking for you. Ellie especially. Jenna's spinning a story already. I nodded once. I'm asking you to hold off, Eric continued. Don't say anything tonight. Give me until morning. I met his eyes. Steady grey. Farmer eyes. The kind that read soil and people the same way. Why? Because I saw what happened in there. And I know what you spent. I checked the caterer invoice this afternoon. Habit from running dairy books for 40 years. Your name on every line. Not a dime from anyone else. I stayed quiet. I'm not doing this for Caleb, he said. I'm doing it because my son's wife is now tied to this mess. And whatever's rotting under the floorboards will come up eventually. Better now than when there are kids involved. I thought about it. Thought about 23 years of showing up. Thought about the blank space where my name should have been in the program. You got till morning, I said. He nodded. Stood. I'll call you at 7. He walked back toward the lights. I stayed on the tractor until the last car left. Eric didn't waste time. At 7:03 my phone rang. Catering, flowers, bar, band, all your account, he said. No hello. Total $61,800. Your routing number on file with every vendor. Want the breakdown? No need. There's more. The programs. Ellie told me she approved the final proof 3 weeks ago. Your name was listed under parents of the bride right beside Jenna's. Someone changed it. Blank on your side. Travis added as father of the bride. I exhaled slow. Email trail leads to Jenna's Gmail, Eric said. She sent the change request to the printer herself. Coordinator confirmed it this morning. Said Jenna told her it was a family decision and to keep it quiet. I rubbed my jaw. Anything else? Yeah. Travis isn't just here for closure. He's been talking to a realtor out of Marshalltown. Guy named Dan Pfeiffer. They met 3 times in the last month. I know Dan, old FFA buddy. He told me off the record they're looking at development potential on your place. Talking partition if they can get a piece. Partition. The word landed like a cold chisel. Iowa law changed a few years back, heirs property protections, but if someone could prove co-ownership interest, even partial, they could force a sale. Jenna never had title. But if she'd convinced Travis he had some claim through Ellie. She's got nothing legal, I said. Maybe not yet, Eric replied. But forged documents travel fast. I'm pulling county records today. You got a lawyer? Jim Hargrove. Been using him since '98. Call him. Before you talk to anyone. I did. Jim listened for 10 minutes, asked 3 questions, then said the 4 words every farmer wants to hear. Don't move anything. Come in at 9. By noon Jim had the basics. Jenna had no ownership interest in the farm. Prenup was clean, divorce decree ironclad. But Travis? Nothing. Unless. Jim paused. Unless someone notarized something they shouldn't have. Jenna's sister, Marla, was a notary in Nevada, Iowa. Always been tight with Jenna. 3 days later Eric called again. Found it, he said. Quitclaim deed filed last month. From Ellie to Travis. 1 acre, the barn parcel. Notarized by Marla. Dated 2 weeks before the wedding. Ellie would never sign that. Signature looks like hers, Eric said. But the notary log shows Marla backdated it. And Ellie swears she never saw the paper. I met Ellie at the Perkins off I-35 the next morning. Same booth we'd used for years. She looked like she hadn't slept. Dad, she said. First time she'd called me that since the wedding. I didn't sign anything. Mom said the deed was for estate planning. Said it was routine. Marla brought it to my apartment. I trusted her. I didn't read it. I believed her. Caleb sat beside her. Quiet. Angry in that controlled way farm boys get. Eric had already moved. He knew the county recorder. Got the original scan. Ink analysis wasn't needed. The date stamp was wrong by a month. Marla's notary seal had a crack in it. Traceable. Jim filed to invalidate the deed that afternoon. Fraudulent conveyance. Forgery. Notarial misconduct. But Jenna wasn't done. She called me that night. Voice tight. This is ridiculous, Hank. The farm should be Ellie's someday anyway. Travis just wants to help her. You're being petty. Help her by forging her name. Silence. Call Jim, I said. We're done talking. The next weekend Eric arranged a family cleanup brunch in the barn. Tables still there from the wedding. About 35 people, close family, vendors who'd stayed in touch, a few neighbors. Jenna organized it. Thought she could smooth everything over. Eric accepted the invite. Different plan. I showed up last. Stood in the back. Eric stood without asking. Voice carried like he was calling cattle. Most of you were here last Saturday, he started. Saw what happened. Heard the toast. Now you're going to hear facts. He laid out papers. One by one. Catering, $12,400. Hank Whitaker. Flowers, $7,200. Hank Whitaker. Bar, $4,800. Hank Whitaker. Band, lights, tent, everything else, $37,400. All Hank. Quiet settled heavy. This is the same man whose name was erased from the program, Eric continued. Called the hired man in front of 200 people. While Travis Kane, absent 23 years, was seated at the family table and called father of the bride. He set the forged quitclaim in the center. This deed. Fake. Backdated. Notarized by Marla Thompson, who has now been served with a commission inquiry. Ellie never signed it. Signature was traced from an old 4H form. Jenna stood. This isn't. It is, Eric cut in. Calm. Final. And the realtor Dan Pfeiffer has already withdrawn his listing inquiry. County knows about the fraud. No partition. No sale. Ever. Ellie stood next. I owe my dad something I should have said last week. She looked straight at me. Hank Whitaker raised me. Every 4-H meeting, every flat tire on the way to State Fair, every night I came home crying because life hurt. He paid for this wedding because that's who he is. I let Mom run it. I let her erase him. That was wrong. And I'm sorry. She walked over. Hugged me. Long. No one spoke. Jenna left through the side door. Travis followed a minute later. Neither came back. 2 weeks later the Notary Commission suspended Marla for a year. Public record. She lost half her income. Travis's realtor contacts dried up. Word travels in small counties. Jenna's condo lease wasn't renewed. Turns out she'd been late on rent, using wedding gift money she thought was hers. Ellie and Caleb moved into the old farmhouse. Not permanent. Just while they built their own place on 5 acres I gave them, legal, surveyed, deeded proper. I still work the land. Sunrise to sunset. The barn stands quiet now, lights off until next harvest party. Sometimes I sit on the John Deere at dusk. Look at the fields. Think about $62,000. Think about 23 years. Think about one bad toast. Numbers don't lie. People do. But land remembers. And this land? It's still mine.